wondering how I got into this mix. Mind playing tricks and I'm fiending for a fix. Habits overriding, imploding into explosion. Tapering away like ocean, coastal erosion. Bringing down falls like a Shakespeare tragedy. Expectation versus novelty, an odyssey. Trusting the truth of my power like a battery. Showing a new way to each and every wagon see. Imposing the impossible, surpassing every obstacle. Sailing with my voice until we all become unstoppable. Visionary depiction, blurring fact from fiction. Enriching perception with colorful depiction. Scales are tipping and I feel it in every nerve. Revolutionary like the birth of spoken word. Tuning my thoughts to the streams of the absurd. Walking on by to a new day I turn. Walking on, walking on, walking on, walking on, walking on. Walking on, walking on, walking on, walking on, walking on by to a new day I turn. To the mountain of the fountain of the knowledge that I learned. Walking on by to a new day I turn. My true self dwelling in the clouds in the sky. Walking on, walking on, walking on by, on by, on by, on by, on by.
Today is Sunday, March 9th, 2014, and just got back from Austin yesterday, exhausted. Went to the Texas Bitcoin conference, and lots of things on my mind tonight, so we're going to cover lots of videos and interviews that I got while I was out there, and also probably go into a little bit about shamanism. I don't have the book I wanted to go over, The Way of the Shaman. It is unfortunately not with me, but I've got tons of other shamanic resources and knowledge to share, and I think it's of importance. I'm also, been dealing with some weird situations in my personal life, and as many of you know that these things cross over, there's no way to try to be a positive human being and put out conscious energy as an activist and pretend like the other things in your personal life don't affect the way you deal with others and the world and look at the world, etc., etc. So I wanted to share a little bit of that with you, as much as I'm comfortable with. Basically, wanted to talk about self-forgiveness for a moment, and this is a lesson that I'll be learning over the coming months, and also one that I've continued to learn throughout my life for various things. Now, the specifics of my situation are not important, but the important lesson to get at here is the power of self-forgiveness, and while it's a lesson I haven't completely absorbed yet, it's one that I do work on daily. And why is it important to forgive yourself? Why is it important to forgive others? Well, and what is this idea that you even need to forgive yourself? I would say one of the reasons it's important to forgive yourself is because some of you may know we can often be our own worst enemy, and that's something that I deal with pretty often, and that's why I've talked about conscious language and the power of that, and how that can change your circumstances, your situation, and how you can get past those things by working on yourself and working on those issues that need to be worked through. And that's what I think self-forgiveness does for me, at least. And the idea of self-forgiveness, what I'm specifically talking about, is being able to let go. It's cool, man. Being able to let go, leave it. Being able to let go and work through these problems, and to gain from them and to move through them without repeating the same mistakes. Because it doesn't really fucking matter how many times you can intellectualize and understand the problems and look at the issues, and you can trace your path and later reflect and be like, wow, so I see exactly how this came about and how I got myself in this situation, and this is my karma, this is my truth, however you want to think about it. Well, at the end of the day, we create our own circumstances, we manifest the things in our lives that we, for whatever reason, are being called towards, and sometimes those things seem to go against our own self and our own desires, but I don't know, I imagine these things make more sense in hindsight, and as they often do. So I'm just kind of rambling now on self-forgiveness because I think I need to work on that, and I'm working on that. And no, that's something I'm going to continue to work on, and I will hope that you can join me in that, because I think the more of us that work on these issues, the more of us that work on self-forgiveness, then the better off we're going to be. And so if I seem distracted tonight, then excuse me, because I got a lot of shit on my mind. And there's still important things going on in the world though, so I wanted to get into some of those. But this is the part where a song's supposed to come on and play, and then I go away for a second, and then you come back, and then we talk some more. But I don't know if we've got that queued up right or not. It looks like we've got the wrong video queued up. Yes please. Huh? There's no sound? Neil, are you not hearing any sound? Yes, please do that video. Do that video and then figure out the sound issue if there's a sound issue, because apparently people are saying there's no sound. We're going off the script tonight. Hope you enjoy it.
Show me right now. I say, help, please, the human race is on its knees. You don't need degrees to see what we see. Open up your eyes, stop believing the lies. It's time we go on the rise. We're gonna decriminalize. My mind hardcore's ready to soar. The message that I'm bringing is to keep it raw. We're here to settle the score, bringing truth to your door. Police in the shadows planning third world war. We got dancers, prancing, romancing. Now it's time for the chances. Piccadilly Circus. Woo, woo. Come on, people, clap your hands. 1, 2, true to the street. I don't eat meat and I'm not discreet. I'm just pumping truth, now it's truth radiation. Whole civilization, new vibration, new information, new civilization. Love, peace, this is the key. Civilization. Oh, come on, people. Woo! We got dancers from Spain today. Coming together, we're all coming together as one, as one, as one. Yo, we are one, energetic consciousness, infinite potential's gonna be synonymous. It's the next quantum leap to be free. Resonate with the highest form of the sacred energy, transform to a whole new reality. Peace, equilibrium, gonna be normality instead of hate and destruction. This is what we call disharmony. My mind hardcore is ready to soar, but the message and the aim is to keep it raw. Hit the sound, the score, bring the truth to your door. Police in the shadows fighting third world war. Yeah, we get the dances and dancing, dig it with the truth and the truth's romancing. Spit it with the truth, now the truth is the chronic. Supersonic, hypnotic, you know you want it. Truth's inside you, ready to guide you. Intuitive force and you know you got a right to. Hold on tight, enjoy the ride. Come on, people, we're not gonna hide. We are one energetic consciousness. Infinite potential's gonna be synonymous. It's the next quantum leap to be free. Resonate with the highest form of the sacred energy. Transform to a whole new reality. Peace, equilibrium's gonna be normality. Woo! Yeah, woo! Yeah, I say focus, focus. Don't lose your focus. Realign your mind and your soul. You know this.
What do you think is the most tangible way that Ethereum could change cryptocurrency?
Well, I think right now one thing that people are talking about a lot is Mt. Gox. So there's this question that we have this decentralized currency that's supposed to make everything trust-free, and yet the ecosystem is still heavily centralized. It relies on trust, and that trust just failed us with $400 million. So there's a lot of people talking about this question of, can we decentralize more? Can we make exchanges do less? Can we make exchanges handle just exchanging and not store our bitcoins? Can we create Bitcoin wallets that combine the benefits of storing the bitcoins yourself and storing the bitcoins in a centralized way, so that you don't have to trust either yourself or anyone else? So basically, there's a lot of interest into these different kinds of protocols, how they can actually be done. And the way I see Ethereum playing into that is just the fact that Ethereum provides this contract system. it creates this mechanism through which anyone can actually experiment with all these different setups and create different kinds of contracts pretty much in about 30 seconds. So it lets people make set up any kind of rules that they want, and basically let the best transaction types win. So, you know, I'd like to see things like decentralized exchanges exist. I'd like to see things like decentralized financial systems exist, where there is no Mt. Gox at all. So,
I was just one more question though on that. On that point is this like a shift away from putting, as you said, trust in an individual, trust in a financial institution? Would the trust then be going into the protocols of the system itself, like algorithmic?
Yes. So the trust should be, any trust that's still there should either be in large coalitions of people, so things like 5 out of 9 voting pools, or the blockchain, and the trust should be in math. So
also, what do you think is the possible effects of quantum computing and the way that'll affect cryptocurrency and mining in general?
So in terms of mining, like, quantum computers are somewhat better at mining, but they can't break mining completely. So if quantum computing comes out, all we're going to see the difficulty jump up by a few billion, and then it'll just keep going. The bigger threat is, I would say, from the signature side. So there are quantum-proof signature algorithms to replace ECDSA, but they're all more inefficient in some fashion, and it's a much more untested area of interest. So
you think it'll be some time before quantum computing poses any type of threat to its traditional mining?
Look, the fact is, the most powerful quantum computer in the world managed to use Shor's algorithm to factor the number 21. These things are a joke. You know, it'll be a long time before they're really successful, unless we see some kind of like black swan sort of event where the NSA has been doing it all along. I don't think they're anywhere close to reality, and when they will be, we'll have lots of time to move over.
Awesome.
My name is Michael Cargill. I'm actually the CEO and president of Central Texas Gunworks. Yes, we're actually going to unveil a RoboCoin Bitcoin ATM here at Central Texas Gunworks. And the thing about this RoboCoin ATM is it's actually going to update real time. So it's actually going to update on the minute. Unlike some of the other Bitcoin machines that you've seen in the past that update once a day, we will update every minute. This is actually the first Bitcoin ATM in the world in a gun store.
So this is the unveiling of the very first Coin Vault ATM powered by RoboCoin, deployed in Austin, Texas.
Do you have any fears or worries about Bitcoin after the Mt. Gox news of Mt. Gox going into bankruptcy recently, and people's fears of Bitcoin beginning to tumble? Do you have any worries about that?
No, just like anything that we've come across, any new technology, just like the internet. You had your banking system. They actually started doing online banking on the internet, and you had a bank actually lose millions of dollars. So I expect that there are going to be some bumps in the road. So we expect there are going to be some problems, and there are going to be some companies that fall by the wayside. That's the part of doing business, and that's the cost that you pay of doing something new or venturing out in a different technology.
So what we've got is we've got an ID scanner. The barcode scanner sits here. So either using your electronic cell phone wallet or a paper wallet, it will scan that to be able to either redeem a paper wallet for cash. The cash is dispensed through the cash dispenser here, and then of course your palm scanner, once you've identified yourself, then you'll be able to consummate the transaction. Print out a paper wallet or otherwise a receipt from the receipt dispenser.
So how does the palm scanner work?
The palm scanner basically is the metrics piece to be able to give consistent human identification to who's doing the transaction to be compliant to the KYC piece. KYC is know your customer, and it's very important as we launch RoboCoin's Coin Vault ATMs into the marketplace, and we bring legitimacy to cryptocurrency, that we're compliant to the federal guidelines as it relates to having to know who your customer is to be able to prevent people doing illicit activity on the Coin Vault ATM terminals. With cryptocurrency, just as you have currency in cash, if you're taking out more than $10,000, you have to fill out the appropriate documentation to notify the government that you're doing large value transactions. And so the same thing is going to be true as currency transitions into something other than the fiat currency or $100 bills. With cryptocurrency, it's electronically transmitting value, so you have to be able to know who these customers are.
So for every transaction, will there be like a palm scan? Or
Palm scan every transaction. The first time you'll register on the system with your state or federally issued ID, and then also with your palm. And you'll have a PIN, and you'll use a cell phone number to be able to use SMS messaging, so the terminal can actually communicate to you in real time.
There's one company called BitPay, which have actually caused us a few little problems. We actually had to stop selling firearms on our website because of because of BitPay. And what I've done was I've actually got with a company in Chicago, which they're creating a program for me, which will allow me to sell guns on the website using Bitcoin again. Actually, BitPay, what they did was they actually totally closed my account because they didn't want to deal with firearms and ammunition. You know, and Bitcoin, this is all about financial freedom. You know, if you're getting into Bitcoin, you shouldn't have a problem with the gun store actually selling firearms, you know, because you're still going to come into the gun store, you're going to fill out the 4473, we're going to call the FBI and do the background check. So a person's getting a background check done on them. There shouldn't be an issue, you know, with us selling firearms. So, you know, I'm very disappointed in BitPay because Bitcoin is about financial freedom.
Governments have to stop stuff to tax it. Like, they have to intercept it, they have to, you know, that's why you can, so to speak, get a tax on stamps, which, you know, at least in Canada, in the States here too, it's a government monopoly. So you can tax that because you can catch someone in the act of mailing a stamp, right? And if somebody makes something and has to put it on the road or has to import it in, you can catch them there. So you have to be able to stop stuff, catch it and stop it in order to tax it. You know, 3D printing and cryptocurrency and so on is how are they going to find what's happening? How are they going to, you know? So I think it's really going to change the relationship. Anything which makes stuff harder to tax while staying completely within the law, everything which makes things harder to tax, I think is an advantage. You know, starve the beast, right? I mean, I think in California they just put a sales tax on internet stuff as a 1% compliance. And that's partly because people don't feel like there's any particular risk in not complying. And so I think it's very valuable. Anytime you break down a middleman, you increase freedom in society, right? Like, I mean, when I was younger and I was going through academics trying to get this book published, I faced these middlemen, right? These walls of people between me and an audience, whether it was readers or students. Now, when there's no middleman, I can do what I'm doing and talk to people directly, and it's a much more authentic conversation than, you know, in the movie Cyrano de Bergerac, I think it's originally a play. There's that, the smart guy whispers to the pretty dumb guy all the great things to say to the woman. You know that relationship's never going to last because it's not direct. Right now we don't have to have somebody, the pretty person we have to whisper things to get the girl. We can just go talk to them directly, and I think that's much better for everyone involved.
Peer networks, open source technology.
Yeah, all the self-regulation, reputation systems that are accessible immediately to everyone. I mean, how fantastic is that? Because then if you get cheated, it's either completely unexpected or buyer beware, you know, and learning how to police ourselves rather than assuming the government's going to take care of everything, I think is a much more mature thing for us to be doing. Thank you.
You're so enticing, take up all the time you need inside of my mind. I like you here, I'm inviting you here, I'm inviting you here. So here we are, you're looking better than the last I saw you. I want more of you. Take up all the time you need inside of my mind. I like you here. Cause mine is Megan. They call
me Megs though. See, I know this approach is retro and unusual, but let's go somewhere where I can hear you better. And my place is just a place for that. See, y'all convos aphrodisiac, and the angels wanna be where we be at. I'm trying to figure the feeling kinda mutual. You could drop them dead, babe. I see you at the funeral. Outside's quite fine, inside's beautiful. Guess what? I'm trying to say is I want you to know that you can have the world if you want, and it's my pleasure. You can take up all the space up in my mind, and I'ma let you. Every time you say a word, I just listen like a lecture, cause I wanna learn your lessons. If you let me, even better. Can I take you anywhere you wanna go? Sounds cool, right? Love, I'm into anything that you like. Laying next to you underneath the moonlight. Seems every time we get together that the mood's right. Yeah. And I'm inviting you when you in the room. I just wanna vibe with you, white car, shotgun, baby, let me ride with you. I feel so complete when I'm with you.
You say you like me, boy, I like you too. You're so enticing, take up all the time you need. Inside of my mind, I like you here. I'm inviting you here, I'm inviting you here. So here we are, you're looking better than the last I saw you. I want more of you. Take up all the time you need. Inside of my mind, I like you here. I'm inviting you here.
What's your sign? Cause mine's a Virgo. I kinda act like a Leo too. See, I know this approach is unusual, but I'm okay with being different if it's moving you. Cause I enjoyed the last time that we spent together. I wanna know if we could do it again, cause you've been on my mind since then. I like it when you come inside and I'm inviting you in. So how's it going on your end? And can you come again? See, I don't mean to be too pressed, but if you come in when they grew to something way bigger when we started as friends. And I don't even know what's different, but I like what it is. I like the feeling you deliver. Can you try it again? Huh? I ain't hear you, can you try it again? Cause you a drug. I just wanna light you, ignite you, take a hit to show you how much I like you. I like you. No telling what I might do. Picasso, how I paint you. Play-Doh's is how I write you. I'm hoping to excite you, cause I want you around more. By the way, I like for you. Fill up my cerebrum with your ego. The smile that you wear tells it all when I read you. The glimmer in your eyes, giving life to all the people in your presence. If I throw this invitation at you, would you catch it? I'ma throw an invitation at you, baby, can you catch it?
You say you like me, boy, I like you too. You're so enticing, take up all the time you need. Inside of my mind, I like you there. I'm inviting you here, I'm inviting you here. So here we are, we're looking better since the last I saw of you. And I want more of you. Oh, take up all the time you need. Inside of my mind, I like you there.
Of all the people that I never met, you're probably the one I won't forget. Probably the one I most regret. Yeah, and it depends, cause honestly, I don't even know you yet. Look, you say you so different, I could tell by how you dress. And you say you low key and sent the picture through a text. You on your way? Because I miss you, that's the bet. You send a text saying you on the way, I've waited since we met. You say you're on your way, I've waited since we met. Yeah.
So here we are, we're looking better since the last I saw you. I want more of you. Take up all the time you need. Inside of my mind, I like you here. I'm inviting you here. Love me hard, love me long. Just submit to my love. Do you want to die tonight?
Yeah, but very little regulations designed to protect customers. Sorry. Designed to protect incumbents and fail again and again. So, there's regulation.
I just got two quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
So you spoke on the failure of Mt. Gox.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the recent hacking loss of $600,000 by Flexcoin, just announced yesterday?
Well, I think we're seeing the same pattern repeated over and over, which is if you take your funds outside of the protection of the blockchain and you hand over your keys and control of your funds, to an institution that doesn't have the protections of a regulated financial institution, you don't get the blockchain protection, you don't get the regulated institution protection, you fall right in the middle and you get the worst of both worlds. And so my advice is control your keys, control your funds. Don't control your keys, you don't have any funds. It's just a matter of time before they're stolen. And we can do a lot better in Bitcoin.
Your thoughts on some in the Bitcoin Foundation wanting to go further towards regulating cryptocurrency, regulating Bitcoin? Where do you
I don't speak for the foundation. I'm not involved in the foundation.
What are your thoughts
management.
on regulation, the direction? What, some calling for working with the government more, and others who want to keep it out.
Well, I think working with some regulators in order to teach them about how we can do better with programmable money and do regulation based on algorithm, I think that's a good idea. I think inviting the regulators using the same failed regulations that didn't protect consumers in 2008 is a waste of time.
I'm here with Charlie Lee. You're the creator of Litecoin and Coinbase. I just wanted to get your thoughts on some of the recent news related to Bitcoin, obviously Mt. Gox and now Flexcoin and different, the ups and the downs of cryptocurrency, and how you think Litecoin plays into those situations.
So Bitcoin has gone through a lot of bad news recently with Mt. Gox, the transaction malleability problem. I think it's just a natural, evolution of the currency. People are trusting way too much money, way too many Bitcoins with a company that it has shown to be pretty incompetent in terms of creating an exchange that can support all those users and actually holding on to the coins. So it's unfortunate, but it's like a learning experience. I think Bitcoin will survive this, and it's bad for the users that lost a lot of money, but for Bitcoin, it's kind of good for people to realize to not trust companies that they shouldn't trust, and to learn from this and improve on Bitcoin.
So just a couple of bumps in the road on the way towards a brighter future of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of bumps in the Bitcoin kind of history, right? And a lot of it had to do with Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox has quite a few spectacular failures and hasn't killed Bitcoin, and the last one probably will hopefully killed off Mt. Gox, but not Bitcoin. And in terms of with Litecoin, luckily hasn't had any of these problems. So it's luckily Litecoin's kind of just riding the coattails of Bitcoin and getting more and more popular and not having the bad stigma with Bitcoin right now, which is good. Yeah. For
the viewers who are new to Litecoin, could you explain in what ways Litecoin is similar to Bitcoin and what ways it differentiates itself?
So Litecoin is based off the same code base as Bitcoin, so it's very similar. The difference is I wanted to create silver to Bitcoin's gold, so I want to create something that's more plentiful, that's more lightweight, so it has 4 times as many coins as Bitcoin, the same distribution of coins, like every 4 years it gets mining rewards gets halved. The other difference is it's 4 times faster in terms of confirmation times. So sending Litecoins, each confirmation would happen on average 2.5 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes for Bitcoin. So it feels more lightweight. Transacting in Litecoin feels faster. If you ever send Litecoin to someone, they get a confirmation pretty much immediately. And another difference is just want to make sure that Litecoin's mining algorithm is different from Bitcoin, so it's not competing for the same set of miners. So Litecoin uses script versus Bitcoin's 256 SHA-256D, and script makes it so that people can mine. Right now, the Bitcoin miners are all using ASICs, and Litecoin miners are using their GPUs. So the idea is to be, more decentralized, having a larger set of miners.
Do you see the model that Litecoin is putting forth to be something that is going to continue to be replicated, or do you think Bitcoin will continue to be the model?
What do you mean by that?
Well, just in the sense of future cryptocurrencies, the creation of more cryptocurrencies, do you think that they will stay closer to the Bitcoin model, or something like Litecoin that's released more often is more plentiful and things like that?
I think the different one interesting thing is all these newer alt currencies, they're all cloning Litecoin as opposed to Bitcoin.
Okay.
And I think they're all trying to do different. I mean, some of them are obviously like scams or pump and dumps, aren't really doing anything interesting. The ones that are doing more interesting things, some have like a lot more coins, some have a lot less coins, and just doing something different. So it varies. It's all over the board.
Awesome. And where do you see the future of cryptocurrency? Some are calling 2014 the year of Bitcoin or the year of cryptocurrency in general. Where do you see us in a year or the next few years from now? How cryptocurrency and blockchain can change the world?
It's really hard to predict. I mean, cryptocurrency is growing so fast. So one thing I do know is there's always going to be alternative currencies. So Bitcoin likely will be number one cryptocurrency. There will be number two, number three, number four. The good ones will bubble to the top and will be used. So one thing about Litecoin is we actually have a strong development team working on it that actually helps with Bitcoin development. Things we change actually helps Bitcoin. So it's a very complementary coin, and we work together. So in the future, as you can see already, Bitcoin is getting more and more adoption by the masses, and more merchant adoption. So people actually have a place to spend their Bitcoins, and lots of places to get Bitcoins. Same thing will happen with Litecoin. You already see, like recently, BTC China is just launched Litecoin exchange. You see more and more exchanges supporting and more merchants supporting Litecoin also. So in like, I guess there's always going to be a lot of bumps in the road, like the Mt. Gox stuff, but the future is very bright for cryptocurrency.
What do you think the role for Liberty.me and in general independent alternative media coming towards Liberty Perspective?
So what the role to me is that we can generate new creative solutions to the problems we have. All the problems we have in today's world, most of them are caused by the state. And if we're ever going to get out of these problems, we've got to invent solutions for ourselves. We can't just go begging to politicians all the time and say, give us rights, give us freedom. That's not going to happen. So we have to take it upon ourselves. And my inspiration here is Satoshi Nakamoto. I mean, he stepped out there and said, okay, here's my cool new currency. If you like it, value it, and let's go for it.
All the money or all the percentage of Bitcoin that we raise with this goes towards Alliance of Austin Agorists. And I sell these shirts and these candles on the side. Except Bitcoin, silver, and cash. What are your thoughts on agorism, Mr. Tucker?
On what?
On agorism.
I mean, it's interesting because I didn't know about it for many years.
Yeah.
And now I realize that our answer is embedded within this philosophy.
Yeah.
And it's really the only answer. Yeah. Because what it asks us to do is control the parts of life that we can actually control.
Right.
And not waste our time on silly things we can't control. We can scream at the politicians, yell at the government, participate in the democratic system, which is basically a ruse, or we can take charge of our own lives. And that's really what it comes down to. Well, what can we control? We can't control the state. And once we realize that, our whole world shifts. And it took me, 25 years to realize that. It's an obvious thing once you say it, but it takes a long time to realize it. And so we can't control the state, we can control our own lives. And if we control our lives and do it well, eventually our lives will determine our political future. So I believe this.
Awesome. We see it coming to life now. There's Agorist pockets popping up. Like you were telling one of the guys that came here, half the people here don't realize that they're part of the counter economy, and that's what Bitcoin is,
whether they like it or not.
Yeah, a third of humanity probably is part of the counter economy, maybe 2/3. At some level, in some way. The state is so overweening and so far-reaching that it's almost impossible to move or breathe without breaking some law.
Yeah.
So let's just deal with the reality and move forward.
Yeah, live like free people.
Absolutely.
rhymes with a savior. False flags and erratic behavior. Water full of chemicals, leaks all the nutrients. Fill the sky up with toxic pollutants. War for the profit, rhymes with a savior. False flags and erratic behavior. Water full of chemicals, leaks all the nutrients. Fill the sky up with toxic pollutants.
Reed brought about this preventable fuckery. Food without poison is a bourgeois luxury. Somebody tell me how the Monsanto company is still running rampant from India to Hungary.
Collapsing the dollar to the raping of Afghanistan. Bloody hands from Chase Manhattan to the Vatican.
Yo, I study revolution, work for the movement. We wanna see some real improvement.
Choosing to separatize, independent, better life is possible. Break down the power structure obstacle.
More and more cameras, chemtrails every day. I don't know who's watching, but they're altering our DNA.
I'm not against fair trade without semantics, without the new world order's antics.
Planted perspectives can't get protection. Subliminals and advertising never
I
redirection.
don't watch television, I watch what I ingest. Knowing every step, yes, it's the age of the silent weapons. But I'm doing what I can, prepping from afar. Even angels don't play this hard.
War for the profit, rhymes with a savior. False flags and erratic behavior. Water full of chemicals, leaks all the nutrients. Fill the sky up with toxic pollutants. War for the profit, rhymes with a savior. False flags and erratic behavior. Water full of chemicals, leaks all the nutrients. Fill the sky up with toxic pollutants.
Sterilizing the third world, cancerous vaccines, cutting down the populace all in the name of peace.
Yo, live for the heart while I die by my sword. Burn paper money while they stock up gold.
They'll exploit anything cause cash is priority. McDonald's advertisements targeting minorities. Sorcery used to abuse the majority. Living for survival, mundane and disorderly.
No democracy, no right, no left, just a seven-headed serpent and none of the heads are
Cause
severed.
it's fake money and fake politicians, crooked governments with their military missions.
We question it all cause we know that they've already compromised the info, reverse psychology.
Slaughtering the innocent and manipulating the youth through the television, GMO foods and pharmaceuticals.
We down with the grassroots, keep your stock tips. Fuck Wall Street and all their politics.
All of it, can't believe so many people swallow it. That's why we spell it out, the mass media never taught us shit.
So what's it gonna be? Take back what's yours? And let the Queen Club of Rome decide for
Yo,
it.
love for the game, yo, even for the obstacles. Free suckers like y'all was possible.
Genocide of indigenous populations worldwide. Centralized power was the goal, so they colonized. Centuries ago, the president was all designed. Swallow every human in this pyramid, monopolized.
Life is now the enemy. Summon the forces. These the bastard children of conquistadores.
Gene spliced crops, released into the biosphere. Unrestrained crossbreeding, no place to hide here.
Right here, let's unify right now and get these sick serpent motherfuckers out.
Yo, the who,
Yo, the what?
yo, the where,
Yo, the why?
yeah. Illuminati's trying to suck you dry.
Hello and welcome to Culture Shock on the Conscious Resistance. This is John Vibes, and today I'm going to talk about the developing situation in Ukraine and how many are calling it the start of World War III. Now, I agree that it is kind of scary having two countries with nuclear weapons that are being so openly hostile with each other, but at the same time, it's really important to point out that history will probably show that World War III started a long time ago. It could have perhaps started just after 9/11 when the United States government invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, or it could have even started even sooner during the so-called Cold War when the East and the West basically were at war with each other in small territories that they were fighting over. They were having proxy wars in countries that were technically weaker, had weaker militaries, weaker economies, that they were fighting over resources for in these areas. So just because they weren't invading and pillaging each other's capital cities or homelands or whatever you want to call it, there was still a large-scale global war taking place, and there were still people being killed. There were still homes, villages, towns, cities being invaded and bombed. So I have a hard time understanding how this hasn't been World War III all along. just because it doesn't take the same form that we saw in previous world wars, that doesn't mean that it just hasn't evolved into something new. With the Cold War, there were proxy wars in Afghanistan and all throughout that area where there is still struggle now, in Africa, of course, too. And that's where all of this has played out. And now they don't even need actual armies. They can just fund rebel groups, and they can use mercenary armies that really have no association with any government technically, but behind the scenes they do. So I really just think that the way that war has been waged has been changed for public relations purposes. So it can still be sold to people, because people continually get sick of this, and it's unnatural, it's immoral, it's horrible on every level. And the average people of every country, as many intelligent people have said before, do not want war. It is the people who run these governments and these gangs that are perpetuating this mentality that war is necessary. And all of these large scale global wars are being waged to build empires. A lot of times now today it's being presented as unrelated incidences in various areas of the earth that are police actions and humanitarian wars, when in all reality it is just the same thing that it's always been. It's just a conquest. So all these people getting very excited about World War III, they have good reason to be concerned that things are getting more serious and things are getting more dangerous for the large empires that are waging these wars in other people's lands. It might be coming home soon. So just because World War III may be coming home soon doesn't mean that it just started. It started a very long time ago, and I think everybody around the world probably realizes that. It's just those of us in the West, and probably in so-called superpowers like Russia and China, they may not see it that way either, just because they don't have to deal with their houses being bombed and their cities being invaded. So it is very important for us to look past our own culture and our own cultural mindset when looking at really important issues like this. Because when people say world war, that means basically that the whole world is at war or at risk of being at war. And that's exactly what's going on right now, and that's exactly what's been going on for a long time. A lot of people have this cartoonish kind of version in history that we've been sold through the propaganda and the media and the education system, that there are supervillains and superheroes in these big world wars, and that is just what we have been fed. That's not reality. There are gangs fighting over turf, essentially, and that's all it's ever been, and that's what it is now. So even though the face of war has changed and now it looks like certain governments keep their hands clean, that isn't always the case, and most of the time it really isn't. Even if they're subjugating their own populaces, their hands still aren't clean. But in terms of war, the whole world is definitely at war, and the whole world is definitely at risk of being at war. Just because the larger countries aren't invading each other does not mean that proxy wars do not count, because they do, and a lot of people are getting hurt and getting killed in them, and they are people who are far more defenseless than we would be in that situation, because most of them are completely poor and disarmed with no way of defending themselves whatsoever. And that's exactly why they're being taken advantage of to wage war, because after generations and generations of all of this nonsense, the Western world doesn't want that on their doorstep anymore. and neither does anybody else, but unfortunately, they don't have much of a say in the matter at this point. Until next time, this is John Vibes on Culture Shock on the Conscious Resistance. Peace.
Welcome. Let's go. Take it off. Welcome back to the Conscious Resistance Live. Yeah, this is a vid fest tonight. That's what it is. So you just heard my interviews between Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, Andreas Antonopoulos, who is famous for being involved in all kind of Bitcoin technologies and really a big voice in the Bitcoin world. Also Vitalik of Ethereum, genius, 20-year-old genius, developing some of the future technologies that we're going to be using in all kinds of ways, and also talked to him a little bit about quantum computing and mining. Well, who else did I talk to? Oh, of course, Stefan Molyneux talked briefly about 3D printing and technology and moving forward and how that's going to affect our reality. Of course, those who study agorism know that this is what we've been talking about for a while. And also Jeffrey Tucker. I was a cool little interview. First, I caught him earlier in the day and talked to him about independent media because, of course, he's launching Liberty.me. He was talking to me about that, and so talked about the importance of independent media in freeing the people. And we also talked a little bit about agorism. As you can see in the video, he came over to the Alliance of Austin Agorists table that was set up there at the Texas Bitcoin Conference. A friend of mine, Joel, what's up, Joel, who's behind that organization, does a lot of good work. And Jeffrey's answer was really awesome. Like even off camera, some of the stuff we didn't put in the video, him talking about different points that Murray Rothbard was wrong on, and he called him a dear friend, and he said that my dear friend was wrong on this, and that. And he also said that Rothbard believed that he could change things through the system and through the voting process and stuff like that, and how, as he said in the video, how obvious agorism is, and to not try to bang your head against the wall, but instead to build solutions and create solutions. So I really enjoyed that interview, and I've also got some more footage of seeing the Bitcoin ATM in action and seeing everybody scan their palms. I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, I said this on Facebook, but I won't be using it, and all respect I can give towards Sheldon and Michael Cargill, who are the ones who brought that to their gun store and showing it around. Now they have mobile Bitcoin ATMs going around South by Southwest, and it's cool because they're showcasing the technology. But I've heard from several people online, and I've looked around at some of the other ATMs, and it is completely possible to do this in a way that doesn't involve having to have an ID, cell phone, palm scan, all these different things. And they say it's for KYC, know your customers, so you have to have different measures. But he said something about the banks when you want to remove $10,000. Well, that's $10,000. That's not every single Bitcoin transaction, which is what you have to do with this machine. So it was pretty crazy just to see people, to see this thing in action. And I got video of that I'll be releasing, people walking up, getting their palms scanned. And for me, it defeats the purpose of Bitcoin in a lot of ways, because I use it to be as private as I can be, and also to have bankless transactions, and that just seemed like getting yourself into the grid in a lot of other ways that I'm uncomfortable with. So yeah, I won't be signing up for that, but cool on the technology end. Stefan Molyneux had a bit to say about 3D printing, and I asked him specifically about that because we have a 3D printing project going on in Houston that we're getting excited to launch very soon. So I mean, for me, I live these things. I understand the power that technology can have in limiting our freedom and advancing our freedoms. What I thought was great was to hear Jeffrey Tucker just comment on the simplicity of the message of agorism. At one point, he called Samuel E. Konkin III, who wrote the New Libertarian Manifesto and also the Agorist Primer, he called him a proletarian intellectual. And Jeffrey Tucker has a funny way of saying everything, so that was interesting. And overall, I learned a crap load about how this technology works. Vitalik touched on some of this stuff, but basically the idea of the blockchain as it applies to Bitcoin being a currency, just a memory of every transaction, that there are some brilliant people working on ways to apply the idea of that blockchain to other forms of living, including voting, as Stefan mentioned, reputation systems, which Facebook serves in some way, where your information is spread everywhere, right? So it's almost like impossible to be a bad person, or if you are a bad person, your community knows about it pretty quickly, and they respond, and they can shun you from the community or decide how to deal with you, etc., etc. So we already see these things happening, but I mean, I was having my mind blown constantly throughout the day, and also I was lost quite a bit as well. Just like, huh, what the heck did he just say? It sounded really awesome, and I'm sure it's going to be great. But I also, of course, care about things beyond just technology, and think it's important for us to recognize how important our connection to nature and to this planet is as well, and to not become obsessed with that. You know, some would go as far as some people are down with transhumanism, and they want to become immortal or cyborg, or put that computer chip in their brain, and that's fine. Do what you will as long as it's voluntary, but I won't be signing up. But I think that often we limit ourselves because, I mean, there is the danger of, say, the power grid goes out or whatever, the internet disappears, and there are more than one way to get online and to get information communicated, of course, outside of the World Wide Web, and this is something else I've been learning about. But, you know, there still is a danger in putting all your focus on these types of technology and into the internet only. And what was interesting, though, is, and I have to put this footage out as well, there was a panel on the future of cryptocurrency and regulation specifically, and there was Andreas Antonopoulos. Via Skype on a projector screen was Charlie Shrim, some of you guys know, arrested for back in January in New York, being accused of money laundering through the Silk Road, etc. Just another high-profile Bitcoin player who was arrested. He's now on house arrest, and so he was Skyping in. Then we had some Bitcoin bloggers, and we had Ryan, I can't remember his name, Seckless, I think. He's from 2-Bit Idiot, a blog that writes about Bitcoin. He's the one who leaked the documents about Mt. Gox, showing this fraudulent different ways that Mt. Gox, one of the Bitcoin exchanges that went bankrupt, how they were doing business. And so there was all these people on this panel going back and forth telling their side, and Charlie stepping in from Skype. But what was interesting is they were pretty divided on how the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and crypto technology, cryptography should look. We had some calling for government regulation, working with the government, and that's where you get some of these people who are willing to build Bitcoin machines that follow federal guidelines and they're compliant and all those type of things. There was some of that. There was also others saying, no, we need to self-regulate the industry for this and that reason. And there was still other calls to go towards algorithmic cryptographic regulation. Basically, you know, the idea of a computer or computer programming, keeping things regulated and making sure that certain processes couldn't happen. And I mean, I'm sure that's one safeguard, but again, there's a danger of putting your hands into putting everything into the hands of a computer or a human being. I mean, this is, I think, a common thread through our history. Do we entrust our lives over to a government, whether that's a computer government or a written program, or some men in buildings across the country who tell you that they know how to live your life best and that they know what's best for you and your family and your communities? I mean, either way, I believe it's probably best if we keep the power that's, you know, within ourselves, to ourselves, but also allow it to flourish and work with others around us, etc., etc. Agorism, build community, build solutions, keep learning, educate yourself, don't vote, don't waste your time, find ways to invest your energy in other ways, things like that. You know, we can do that with technology. We can also do it without technology, I believe, and if faced with that situation, then I hope that some of you will still be prepared, because there are some people who are very dependent on their technology. I mean, I use a computer most of the day to do work, but I hope that I will survive without it. I believe I will. I've been there before, and I enjoy that nature, that time away. And yeah, that was this weekend, Texas Bitcoin Conference. 2 days, very exhausting, lots of interviews. I got more video of that panel I was talking about, of the different calls for types of regulation. The full Jeffrey Tucker interview, all that stuff will be coming out on the Conscious Resistance YouTube channel, youtube.com/just Conscious Resistance. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at The Conscious RN, Facebook, The Conscious Resistance. And if you haven't been to theconsciousresistance.com, if you're not watching through the live page, if you're watching on live stream, get off there and go to our website, or when you get a second, and check out all the awesome work that Neil's done. I mean, the website just kicks ass. It's so much more functional and easier to find the great articles that people have contributed, and the art and the music and all our video reports, and my show, Lessons in Consciousness, the Culture Shock segments with John Vibes. Lots of good stuff. So please do that. Please show us some support. We've got big things coming up. I'm planning on leaving Houston May 2nd. Less than 2 months from now. I will be traveling, and I will be doing a video report, daily, probably like a daily vlog. It's just going to be a couple minutes from each day from my day on the road, wherever I'm at. I'm gonna be taking a bicycle tour. Yep, bicycle, 2 wheels, and a bunch of gear, and taking a bike tour, which I haven't taken in a couple years. I took one 3 years ago and changed my life, and I've dedicated every moment I could towards activism since then. And now it's time to go celebrate being free. And there's a lot more lessons, I think, some closure I need in certain ways to situations that I've been dealing with personally that I believe will be found on this shamanic journey of mine, which is what it is. So from May 2nd to May 9th or 10th, I'll be riding my bicycle from Houston, Texas to Los Angeles, California, to show up at the United We Stand Festival, brought to you by Free and Equal Debate Foundation, Free and Equal Foundation, that the Conscious Resistance is a sponsor of. We're going to have our team there. We'll be doing all kinds of interviews, and we have 4 tickets to give away. I think we'll start doing this next week. I keep talking about it, but I want to get some creative ways to give away these tickets for those who are in LA or think they can get there. There's going to be all kinds of music, Immortal Technique, Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan, some other people, actors, journalists, activists, lots of interesting people trying to find solutions and find ways to make our world more free. Some of them through voting, others focusing on the community. Lots of good stuff, though. So we'll be giving tickets away to that, and I'll be riding my bicycle there. So for that 9 to 10 day period, I will be dropping off of communication and having my journey there and just traveling and absorbing those lessons that I need to get. And then I'll be headed there to LA to cover that event. And then I'm going to go to San Diego with Nick Burnaby of the Anti-Media, one of our partners, and help him launch the San Diego Freethinkers. And that's my plan there for a little bit. Then I'll probably come back to Oklahoma to attend the Sundance ceremony on Chief Gray Eagle's land in Oklahoma. And I've told some of you guys about that before, and if you haven't been there for those episodes, then I will get into that more as it gets closer, and my growing interest in my Native American heritage and the lessons and the prayers and the things that I can absorb through that, the teachings of how to be a peaceful warrior and learning when to talk less and listen more. And as you can tell earlier when we started the show, I was a bit frustrated. It's been a frustrating weekend for me, and a couple of days, some unexpected things coming out. And this week I got to communicate with my birth father for the first time in a couple of months, and I only really met him last year. And so that itself brought up different feelings and situations that I'm dealing with. So I apologize if I seem frustrated and on edge or whatever, but I did want to come back on to say hello and goodbye for the night, because I just disappeared and played a bunch of videos, but I wanted to offer that as a thank you for those who've been here for the show tonight. And all these videos are going to be on our YouTube channel. We're going to get those out, and I'll be doing a video on some more of my thoughts on the stuff I talked about earlier in the show. I'll be more specific later. I just need to put it all together. But on self-forgiveness, on some of the things that I'm dealing with, if you care to hear about those things, I try to be real with you guys, with my friends, my family, audience that we work with through this network. And I'm a real person who struggles just like you guys, and I try to be positive and remember that I can manifest whatever reality I want. But sometimes things are heavy, and it's difficult to remember those things in every moment and to be that Buddha in every moment. But I continue to learn those lessons and to push forth, and I think that's all we can really ask for. So I hope that you guys will also take time to work on whatever it is you need to, and that we can continue to grow together, because I'm ready to continue growing as a person. I want to get past some of the simple mistakes I've allowed myself to make. And earlier today I was looking at a quote from Buddha. I got a poster right here behind the camera, and it says, every human being is the author of his own health or disease. And that's something that I fully believe in, and we could sit here and split hairs and debate situations on if that's factually correct or not, but I think the sentiment is there, the idea that we can manifest, we do manifest the realities that we create. And what I'm personally dealing with is just the obvious eventual outcomes for past mistakes now catching up and just landing themselves right in my present reality. And this is me dealing with it, and this is me learning through it, and hoping that this time these lessons that are being presented to me in my life, that I can absorb them and not ignore them and grow as a person, so that I can better communicate and we can continue to learn together. Because this is a two-way conversation. I'm not speaking to you as if I'm some enlightened person beyond you in any way. I hope it doesn't come across like that, because I do this because it's therapy for me. This shit saves my life sometimes. You have no idea how just being able to communicate with some people when I stay very active and involved, yet often feel very, very alone. And I think this is something that we all experience, and that's why I try to remind people that you're not alone, including myself. You're not alone. I'm not alone. You're not alone. We're not alone. we got each other, and I appreciate each and every one of you who are there for me and care about the work that I do, and I care about the work that you do. Please go to theconsciousresistance.com as soon as we sign off here. Vote for your favorite of the 4 videos we played tonight. Some really good artists. We played Magna Carta, who are originally out here from Pearland near Houston. Now they're out of Austin. Joe Cusimano, the Wandering Monks of Colorado. What's up to We Are Change Colorado. And we're going to close with Greg Fernandez. This is a new song. It's all about spreading love. And I mean, I figured that'd be the perfect way to end the show. We'll have a deeper discussion on shamanism next week. When I feel like sticking around longer, I'll get my book back and we'll talk deeper about that, because I could talk about shamanism all day, and if there's an interest in that and connecting that to your philosophy of anarchy and liberty and freedom and how that can advance you and how nobody can take that away from you, then we'll talk about it. But keep up with what's going on. I got some more articles coming up on benswan.com, one that should be out tomorrow about the German homeschool family, their situation. Some of you guys know about that. They've been fighting for years to try to stay here in the United States so that they're not forced into going to public system schooling in Germany. And a little brief history of homeschooling itself in the public education system. So look out for that on benswan.com. We've got plenty of articles coming out on theconsciousresistance.com as well. And if you want to keep up with the work that we're doing here locally, check out thehoustonfreethinkers.com. And if you want to garden, get in touch with me, organicgardensforall.com. And thank you to Truth Broadcasting Network. Thank you to Freedom Phalanx Radio Network, Liberty Movement Radio, Uncorporate Media, Anti-Media, the Houston Freethinkers, the Liberty Beat, all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Enjoy this video. Get ready to pull that video up. If you can hear this, you are the resistance. Peace.
From up above, down below into the streets. As an activist, philanthropist, an advocate for each. I'm an archer to the marker and I handle it with ease. Give me the middle finger and I'll give you 2 of these appendages that with a hand create the peace. In the center of the circle with the line below the V is a symbol representing what it is we're meant to be. Buddha, Jesus Christ, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Do believe the righteous, godly, starting huger things. Yes, God made me an angel with the word instead of wings, so that I could paint the passage on the road to finding dreams. As I spread the positivity through every single scene, I enjoy the possibilities from everything I've seen. I give you peace, I give you love, and everything else in between. And throw them deuces to the sky and leave you every part of me. Spread love, together people up above. Spread peace, that's all I'm really thinking of. Spread love, together people up above. Spread peace, that's all I'm really thinking of.
They don't even dream about a world without the pain, live with no shame. Think about a world without games, how we could change. Why they wanna make me kill another who just like me? Got a father, mother, brother, family just like me. Blame society, that ain't the whole truth. Full of bitter rivalries, I don't even know you. The game is never ending, that's why I'm not pretending. If I'm falling out of touch, I'll make a new beginning. Erase the past, mistakes won't last. I'm like Scarface, real ass, wearing no mask. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, I know my biggest enemy is me, not you. So when the time is right, I'm gonna make myself listen. Decide tonight if I can feel the void missing. Least of all, I'm gonna feel more pain, and most of all, I got myself to blame.
Spread love, together people up above. Spread peace, that's all I'm really thinking of. Spread love,
each other, gonna bury another son of a mother who shouldn't die before his father. But the guns are the problem when the problem is the people. Too much ego, too prideful to let go. Boys in the hood know better than me. All I do is observe what I think that I see. I know that time is short, no time to rest in peace. People see peace as an early defeat. I treat a battle one in peace like a victory. Something's happened, reactions that I don't see. That goes for you and me, I roll the dice and bleed. Overmatch, no scratch, I can never compete. When the time is right, I'm gonna make myself listen. Besides tonight, can I feel the void missing? Least of all, I'm gonna feel more pain. Most of all, I got myself to blame.
Spread love together.